Retro Rob's Gaming Videos.
Welcome to Do As I Say, Not As I Do, Do-It-Yourself Repair Videos. A while ago I mentioned this Competition Pro joystick that I picked up and that it has a bad cable. I'm getting prepared here now to change out that cable with a new one. Thought it'd be kind of an interesting video. That said, there's going to be a number of things that I'm going to do here that I generally wouldn't do if I was reselling this joystick. This is planned to be my personal one for my Commodore 64. So I will do some things I generally wouldn't do. Yeah, it's going to work fine. It's not going to cause problems, but it's just quality stuff that I generally wouldn't do on a project for somebody else. But for myself, you know, I don't care. If you're a mechanic, you'll kind of understand that. One thing I'm going to talk about is the tools I'm using. The crimping tool I'm using is a multi tool. In other words, it strips and crimps. Generally, I would highly recommend if you're going to be doing crimping, you should use a dedicated crimping tool. They're way better at it. This won't do as good of a job as a dedicated crimping tool would. Generally, when I work with this, if I wasn't going to do it the way I'm doing it, I would probably solder it as well, just to make sure it stayed connected well. So yeah, also I've got a stripping tool, a dedicated stripping tool here, and I might need to pull some stuff. So I've got a needle nose pliers with a cutter on the end that I might need as well. Second thing is material-wise. As a general rule, I like to use Atari cables for this kind of replacement. You can see the Atari cable. Here, let me get a little bit closer. On the left is the Atari cable. You see how much thicker and nicer that is? It's a way better quality cable than this. This is a Gemini Gemstick cable. Not a great cable at all. However, the Gemstick is a full foot or two longer than my Atari cable. So I'm going to end up using the Gemstick, which means when I'm doing my crimping, I don't know if you can see this. Let's get really close. See how tiny those little wires are? I'm going to bend these wires over because they're tiny, and then I'm going to crimp to the bent over wire so that it gets better contact. Again, that is not something I would do for somebody else. I would definitely just get, I would use a thicker wire, honestly. I'd sacrifice the foot or two and get a thicker wire. Also, these are incorrect, so I'm going to have to cut them down a little bit. The tops of them are okay, but the plastic here overhangs, so I'm going to have to cut the plastic overhang off, which I'll show you. All right. Basic disassembly stuff. Always keep a bag around you for parts. That way you don't lose them. It does happen. You know, inevitably, if you have a busy lifestyle, somebody walks right the hell in while you're working, and you get stuck. Then you leave it on the table, and the cat comes up on the table, or who knows, your kid comes up on the table, who knows, and then boom, you've lost parts. Always keep a bag around, just put all your bags, all your parts in a bag. See, the cat just ran up on the table right there. Keep all your parts in a bag so that you don't lose them. If you're feeling especially anal retentive, you should probably number them and put little stickies on them. I've done that. I've actually used like a pillbox. If it's something complicated, I will number the, I'll actually number the screws. Of course, there's only 4 screws on this thing, and they're all the same. So we're not going to worry about that too much. And here we go at the bottom. Obviously, I've already taken out 2 screws, so let's take out the other 2. There we go. Put these in the bag. And looking inside the Competition Pro, you can see why. You can see why this was such a great joystick. You will see this kind of contact right here. These little micro switches. You will see these in arcade machines regularly, just like this one. Notice how they've got 3 poles. I just learned about the 3 poles that are on these particular ones. One is normally open and one is normally closed. I don't know why you'd use normally closed, honestly. I can't think of why you would generally do that, but This little one means normally closed, and you can see that this is normally open, so when you press a contact, it closes the contact. Makes sense, right? All right. Now, another thing you can really do if you're feeling really smart, you can take a picture of this right now, so you know where all the wires definitely go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to note which wires are going to have another connector to them, and I'm going to put the heads on all the other wires except for the ones that have more than one connection. I'm pretty sure that would just be this one and the ground, which is black over here. Another thing you can do, by the way, is you could mark them with numbers. In this particular case, the colors match, so I'm not worried about that. If you're feeling particularly feisty, you could also bring a meter with and double check that while you're doing it, which would be a wise decision. But you know, I've done it enough that I'm pretty sure that it's going to be the same. At least I've rewired stuff with the gem sticks before pretty regularly, and it's worked out fine. So not a big deal in this case, but as a general rule, you would. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to get the other wires pre-stripped, and I'm going to clamp them down. So hold on a second. All right, so if you look at this earlier, I mentioned that these are too long with this plastic sleeve on it to fit inside. And I was going to cut them off, but you can actually just pull the little guy off if you've got enough gumption there. There we go. So I did 6. There's 4 directions. Oops. 4 directions, a fire button, and a ground. So there's 6 cables total in here, and I'll just put one of these on each cable, except of course for these 2 cables, which are going to connect to other cables inside, other wires inside. So let's go put this together, and here we go. Just show you me crimping one of these guys. So I bent these over is what I'm doing to get a little bit more grip. Again, not really the way I would generally do it in this case, but it'll hold for a long time. And then I just crimp that guy down. Make sure I'm holding it. Here we go. As far as the crimping goes, they're marked by color. You can see 16 and 10. So that's the ones that I got here. Now you can see I messed up on this. Probably because I should have crimped it from the other side. But I can get that. There we go. Down there, you son of a gun. This is exactly why a real crimping tool is way better than this crap. But again, we work with what we have. If you're out in the middle of space, you work with what you have. So if you're planning on working for NASA, you might as well get used to this. Because, you know, NASA totally be for this kind of work. And next. Oop. Yeah, sideways. Try to keep these straight. See, that's a big deal. There we go. There, gotcha. Now I can bring it back in. Now see, a professional tool is ratcheting. And when they ratchet it, make sure you've got exactly the right amount of pressure to make sure this coupling's on right. And that's kind of the problem. You don't know that you have the right amount of pressure here. So, you know, you just basically do this pull on it and hope it works thing. All right, so I'm going to continue on this. Hold on. All right, so here's something interesting. I just noticed while I was hooking this up, they've got the ground connected. If you look right here, wait, see how it says normally open right there? It had the common ground, which is generally marked CG, hooked up to the normally open, and vice versa. So, yeah, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I just thought it was kind of interesting. I usually don't see that. Not even on arcade machines do I see it reversed. What else is interesting about this part is it's a little bit too tight for me to get in there. So I'm probably going to have to take a screwdriver and take this guy off to complete this particular job. Hopefully that's not a tri-wing. I don't think it is. All right. So we're going to just go on here. And this is exactly how you do it on an arcade machine. That's one of the nice things about arcade machines is that you can just take one module off here and one contact off and replace it. Okay, so I'm going to check this real quick. I don't know if you can see that, but there's the one contact. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be decent enough for you to see this, but this one's marked common, and this one's the normally open, and that one's the normally closed. Again, the normally closed aren't used in this application because there's no need for it on an Atari joystick. Or I can't, like I said, I can't think of any other joystick where normally closed is actually used. But anyway, so I'm gonna hook this ground up. By the way, if the entire joystick doesn't work, there's a good chance that you screwed up on your common ground, which would be this guy right here, the black cable. So that would definitely be part of any debugging on this. I don't expect really to have any problems with this. This is pretty easy work, but who knows? Definitely could injure yourself doing something like that. Generally, I'd be holding it on the ground. Okay, there we go. So we'll get this one underneath and put it back in place with its screw. And then I will continue the process of putting the rest of the wires in here, and I'll show you it when it's done. All right, so I'm just about ready to close it up. A couple things I want to note. When you're closing these back up, of course, you want to make sure you don't pinch any wires. So keep an eye on these holes. We're going to put in screws and make sure that these clear. So I've been routing things on the new wiring all the way around these holes. One of the main reasons why these cables go bad, or these wires go bad on the inside, is because somebody opened it up to fix a contact or something, and they accidentally got one of these cables with, or one of these wires with a screw going through. That said, that didn't happen in this case. It was actually, I think a dog chewed this or something. But anyway, there it is. I suppose we will put the cover on now. And looks like it goes on this way. Again, I'm checking my wires, and looks pretty good. You can also look down the hole. Look, there's a camera. You can also look down the hole on these, and sometimes you can see a wire in there if it's in there. So it's worth a check. See. Also, if you're older, make sure you're wearing your reading glasses. Which I forgot to do early on. Had a little problem. You can see it. You can see it while I'm talking. And then I'm going to clean up here, and we'll test this out on my Commodore 64. Be right back. All right, so here we are in my Commodore cave, and it's time for the moment of truth. Here's the controller. Press fire. Well, fire worked. That's good, right? And press 1 to play Blood Money. Ooh. Oh. Come on. Here we go. And there we go. Flawless victory. Works great. Of course, I did test it a little bit beforehand to make sure it did work. One thing I would note is before I closed up, I probably should have done, probably should have cleaned up the leaf switches so the fire buttons worked a little bit better. I did eventually do that. So, yeah, not too bad. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more. If you'd like to see more this kind of tutorial video, I'll try to make them a little bit more detailed in the future. Let me know in the description. Thanks!
Retro Rock Scaling Videos.